So we have our collar stitched in place, and you can see this is the original fold line that we pressed with the iron. So what we need to do now is secure the facing onto the neckline. So we'll use that original press line as the fold line, and I'm going to put some pins in here to help you, because this neckline goes this way, but that hooks around that way and it has to be connected. So if you put one pin in there to secure the collar, and then put a pin in here. Now we need to miss this little flap here, but then that's why we're going to stop stitching right at the shoulder seam here. We're not going to go to the edge, but we need to line this edge here up with this one here, so our shoulder, so you can put a little pin in there, and if you need to, you can put a pin in the middle as well. Okay, so the trick will still be with this when you're sewing it together, so that you don't get pleats in the underneath one. The pins will certainly help. Okay, so we're just going to start with a back tack at the fold and work our way up to the first pin. Now I don't usually like to sew over pins, so I take them out as I come to them. And because you've already got this row of stitching, you just use that as a guideline and stitch over that line. And then when we come up to the shoulder, we're just going to stop at the stitch line there. So we've stopped here, so if you look at the facing, you can see that the seam allowance on the shoulder of the facing is still loose. So we have our facing, we're sewing the other side now, side of the neckline. I'm going to put some pins in this time to show you that that's an option if you're having trouble holding the layers together. So match up this edge so that it sits in the same position as the finished edge of the shoulder, and we can just pop a pin in there to hold these layers together. And then down the bottom, so you've got the fold there, and then I'd put another pin in just here to hold the collar in place, because the collar's quite stiff and it can distort the neckline. And then if you need to, you can have an additional pin in the middle here. Okay, so we're going to start stitching at the shoulder line here, right on top of our original stitching. Make sure that you don't go back over that seam, you're just going forward. And I like to, once you've got things organised, I like to pull the pins out. I don't like to sew over the pins, just in case it breaks the needle, which rarely happens, but can happen. And back tack at the bottom, and I'll stitch the facing in place with the little flap at the top there.